Did you enjoy Parents' Day yesterday?
I didn't know Parents' Day existed.
I thought it was Father's Day, but Google said it was Happy Parents' Day.
Oh, sheesh.
They had an irrelevant doodle, a gender-free doodle. What did they do for Mother's Day? Look that up. I bet you anything it was fucking tits and women kicking ass doing roundhouse kicks and making all the bacon and frying it up in a pan.
Driving a Jeep better than the dad.
Yeah, best mom ever, you guys. Was there stuff? What does it say?
Looking it up here.
Why are you making those sounds?
I just ate some real hot stuff. Ooh,
Oh, you're
boy.
one of those guys.
Sometimes.
One of those guys that thinks he's Mr. Spice, and then you fucking ruin your dinner.
Mr. Spice.
And you're sitting there going, oh, shit. Oh, my God. That's really, really hot.
It's part of the thrill, man.
Yeah, it's like being a dry drunk. What is taking you so long?
It's hard finding...
Just look up what was the Google Doodle on Mother's Day. What are you looking up? Various things?
2019. It's a mother duck. It's like an active... Like, you could press play on it. So it plays out this mother duck and a bunch of little ducklings.
It's definitely not a male.
It's definitely not a drake. No, yeah, it's a female. But it's...
No, but male ducks don't walk with their ducklings.
That's true. But the androgyny is there within animalness.
So it was big time Mother's Day. I saw one. John Joseph is the singer for this punk band, the Cro-Mags, and I follow him on Instagram. Even though I'm banned, I have a secret way of getting in, guys. You can't stop me. He put up some picture. Some woman had written an article about how we have to abolish Father's Day, and because it's offensive to non-binary fathers, trans fathers, and single mothers. I don't know what the fuck a trans father is. Is that a single mom lesbian who cut her tits off?
I think it's Optimus Prime's dad.
That sounds like a rap line. I got more something than Optimus Prime's dad.
Yeah.
I got more balls.
Call me a trans father. I'm on a transmission. I got mad balls.
Wow, you grew up in the South Bronx, the Boogie Down Bronx, the home of rap, and you suck.
Yep.
So yeah, John Joseph's response was, he grew up in the streets in New York, fucking an orphan going from foster home to foster home. She's like, shut your fucking yap. Actually, I'll tell you.
Wait a sec. That doesn't even make sense.
Motherfuckers.
What? So,
what's up?
You were born in England. Does that make you like you'd be a good beef eater? Or if you were born in Scotland, is your dad a good bagpiper?
He should be.
I don't think that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
Maybe, a lot of people from South Bronx weren't good at rapping, but they could hold a boombox.
Okay, how about this? You were born, why aren't you good at anything?
All right, that's fair.
Okay?
Because I was born in the Bronx. That's why.
Can you fight?
I don't know. Nobody.
Maybe. You got in a fight the other day with that dude.
Who?
That guy took you outside and what was that story at the bar?
That wasn't the other day. That was over last summer.
What happened there again?
He was mocking me because I was getting kicked out because me and him were yelling. He butted into my conversation, and I said, "I'm gonna wait for you outside. I'm excited for this." He's taller than me, so I was like, "But I know I could take him because he's lanky and he's a beta."
How'd you know? Because you just said you don't know if you're good at fighting.
Well, I know what I can accomplish when I look at a certain person, but and that person just stumbled into my realm. I don't pick fights, so I was like, I sized him up and I was like, I could definitely handle this. So I know what I'm capable of physically to some degree, but I don't know.
Okay, so what happens next?
I tell him well, first of all, he butted into my conversation. It was a really weird fight, and I'm yelling at him, and the bar back comes up to me. We're outside. He's like, "Hey, you got to leave." For some reason, he comes up to me like the short guy. Yet again, the cops arrested me when I fought Antifa, and the guy that I was fighting was like a Nordic tall man, and they always come to me like I'm the problem starter. But so then I'm getting kicked out, and he's smiling at me like the Joker. He's like, "Oh, what's the matter? You got to leave? Oh, you got to get kicked out?" He's like taunting me.
This is upstate New York?
Yeah, New Paltz.
Uh-huh.
Super liberal college town.
Is he a super liberal college kid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was talking about Trump or like something vaguely misogynistic to one of my friends. And out of nowhere, this chick is like, oh, yeah, I bet you got a small dick. And I was just turning around. I was like, excuse me? And I was like, and then she kept saying that. And I was like, I have a picture. You want to see it? She's like, no. And then her guy friend says, I'll see it. I bet it is small. I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, press unlock on my phone. It's right there. Press the one button, and it'll unlock it, and you can see it. You do it if you want to see it so bad. He's like, I'm not going to press the button. I mean, I'll look at it. But I was like, then shut up. And I'm yelling at him. Then that's when the bar guy comes in. So anyway, he's taunting me.
How is your dick, by the way?
I like it.
Well, size-wise.
Good ratings. I get good ratings.
Okay. Because there was an Asian attack. You were being attacked for being Asian. It was a small dick.
Yeah,
thing.
isn't that funny how liberals, they're going after... Yeah.
Oh, they do that all the time.
That's
like when there
racist.
was the black ICE agents, they're calling them the N-word.
Right.
And then when there were those Hispanic Marines that they thought were Proud Boys, and they were yelling, calling them spick and wetback.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then they started attacking them. They're going to jail for that. Those are serious charges.
Huh.
They started beating, and the Marines just stood there. I don't know why the Marines wouldn't just kick their ass.
Stand their ground.
But they attacked, physically attacked, and racially epitheted 2 Marines because they thought they were Proud Boys, and they were just these guys were just like having their day off in D.C., ready to relax.
Do they
Maybe
ever
it was
attack?
Philly.
Do they ever attack a non-minority? It's like the Jewish guy from Night of Freedom.
Yeah.
Like, they're bad at that. And all the other ones you just mentioned.
And then the few times they are attacking an actual white person, you find out later that guy's married to an Asian or a black person or
right.
a squaw, in my case.
Yep.
So then what happens? Then you get thrown outside.
Yeah, I told him I was going to wait outside, so I'm smoking a cigarette, just bullshitting with one of my buddies, like right outside of the gate. And the guy hears me, like he opens the door. He's like, "Dude, I can hear you. You gotta you can't just wait outside for him." I was like, "All right, I'll just wait in front." So I just took a cigarette and I was just waiting in front for the guy to leave. So he leaves.
How soon after does he leave?
I don't know. I was real drunk, so maybe like 20 minutes. I think it was about 20 minutes. So we're in the front of Snugs, this bar in New Paltz, and then he comes walking out. I take off my jacket, put it on like a post.
Traffic meter thing.
Yeah, just something there. And I was like, all right, are we going to do this? He's like, do what? I was like, no, dude, get mad. All right, get mad the way you were mad before. Like, what are you talking about? I made it very clear. I was like, I'm going to wait for you outside, and I'm going to punch you in the face. I said that to him. Like, those were my words. And he was like, yeah, all right. So he knows what I'm talking about. He didn't forget. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? As I'm talking to him, the girl... you have a small dick girl from my left throws a punch at my head and hits me in the fucking side of the head.
This is a pattern that is a couple years old of these women ready to throw down. It's these fucking stupid action movies.
Yeah. So she superwomans me in the side of the head, punches the patriarchy in the side of its Chinese head. Or
Did
whatever
it hurt?
I am. No.
No, it never does.
I turned to her and I was like, that was pathetic. And then she tried to hit me again. I put my arm up to block it. Didn't no force. It literally was this much velocity. Just put my arm up.
And people can't see you, but
right.
Ryan is lifting his arm up.
Just lift my arm up, just to block the punch. And he's like, don't touch her. And instead of punching me, he grabs my shirt. So that's his in. Now that he has a reason, quote unquote, a reason to touch me, he grabs my shirt and starts wrestling with me. So he wasn't in a rush to punch me or anything. So now we're on the ground, wrestling. And I finally get, he's lanky and tall. So I finally get position over him, and I got him, kind of in a headlock. And I hear somebody else, not the woman, another one of his friends go, oh, fuck this. And he starts punching me in the back of the head. Well, I'm like,
wait a minute. Sorry. Who's punching in the back of the head?
Just some other guy.
Just some random dude.
Yeah. And he said, oh, fuck this. Oh, fuck this what? Your friend's losing a fair fight? He's taller than me, asshole. Anyway, so then that's happening. She's probably kicking and punching me, too. I don't know what. And then, so I still got him in the headlock, and the cops are there, and I don't notice this. And so we get on our feet, and I'm still holding him in a headlock, and they're trying to pull me off. And I have his head in a headlock still cradled in my left hand, my left arm. And as we're getting to our feet, I just see his face just wide open, and he thinks the fight's over. Oh, cops are here, fight's over, so he lets go of me. And I just like in that 1 second, I just mash his like it's
Oh,
almost like you're holding a baby,
beautiful.
and I just like downward like this.
And you know what's great about that too is like if you punch someone who's just standing there, the head goes back
Right.
and into the air, and there's some recoil. The head has nowhere to go. It's wrestled in your nook.
It just bounces off of my nook and back into my fist probably if you were to slow mo it. And
It's
it
like
was
a
the
garlic
most,
press or something.
yeah. But and before that Antifa fight, when I punched that Nordic Beast Antifa guy, I thought that was the best punch I ever landed. No, this was like the only punch that's ever happened. It favored like his right eye, but just crushed his nose. It was fucking and I didn't get arrested. I just
So you probably gave him a black eye and possibly broke his nose.
Yeah, I was looking up Snug's fight. I was like all over the internet that day because I was like I wanted to see that so bad, and I was outnumbered. I was sucker punched. You know, the guy was taller than me. It was a victory. So I consider that a win.
Well, you got some pretty good pipes for a pussy loser.
Yeah, I like to work out.
Do you? Is that why?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's like the best impression of me I've ever heard. Yeah,
Yeah. I like working out. Okay, so it was an article, and it was written by Daniela Herzog. God, I hope she's not related to Werner Herzog. And it's in College Kid. It's a College Kid tweet. And the title is, Should Father's Day Be Banned Because It's Disrespectful to Single Mothers and Same-Sex Couples? And then the tweet is, Father's Day is so offensive to same-sex parents and single mothers. Stop the patriarchy and ban Father's Day. Yes, all women. Feminism. What is yes, all women? Yes, all 3.6 billion of them? Yes, what? They barely, what do they have in common? And now that you change gender and they don't even have pussies in common, then what does all women mean? It's like reparations. They say, okay, we'll give them to the black ancestors of slaves. You can sort of figure that out. But when you say believe all women, you just told me a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman. So you've cast a rather large net here. So John Joseph is like, my thoughts, shut the fuck up and go away. As someone who never had a father because he was a piece of shit, happy Father's Day tomorrow to all the dads who stepped up and raised their kids. This wackadoo didn't say shit on Mother's Day. Think she'd read Meat is for Pussies if I sent her a copy? He wrote a book called Meat is for Pussies. He's a big vegetarian dude. I'll pay the shipping.
I love wackadoo.
Yeah, that's like a murderer. Not that John Joseph is a murderer, but that's, the way murderers talk where they're kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like, you're being silly.
This bonehead.
Hey, this guy's a real hothead. That means he's killed 13 people.
This guy's kind of an ass. Whoa.
This guy was a little bit disrespectful. That means his whole family's dead.
Did you see Coppercap's tweet about Father's Day?
Wait, conversely, when someone is like, well, what up, motherfucker? I'm going to kill you. Your whole family's dead. I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
You mess with the wrong person, Etsy. You're a dead man. Have fun. Dying. All that. Then whew, I'm not in trouble. This person won't shut up. Like fucking Coco Dito Cortez. What's his name?
Joey Diaz?
Joey Diaz. After I made fun of Ralphie May, and I said, way to go, Ralphie May. You did so much opioids that you took away a child's father, you self-indulgent fat pig. Because I heard that he OD'd from his wife. And he was a drug addict, he was a pillhead, and you don't do pills when you have kids. Yeah. Father's Day. And so I made some joke about that, like, hope you like heroin better than being a dad. Have fun in hell. And Joey Diaz, why do I think his name is Coco?
Because Joey Coco Diaz.
Yeah. Joey Coco Diaz. He tweets me from L.A. Goes, look, I heard that you're a gentleman from my boy Rogan, so I'm probably going to take it easy, but if you ever disrespect my friend Ralphie May again, we're going to have a problem. And it was, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something like, hey Coco, Tony Soprano doesn't tweet. You don't leave a paper trail.
Right.
Like a tweet. Your Honor, this man had been threatening me way before the stabbing attack. We can see here documentation of him warning me that he's going to be stabbing me at any moment.
It's a very difficult situation. I'm going to send out a tweet. Hey, if you don't pay me back these gambling bills, I'm going to fucking bury you.
Shut this up with big pussy. We didn't retweet me. We didn't even fucking like it.
Who's the chick who was being tapped?
Adriana?
Adriana.
was talking to the feds. Tweet.
Yeah.
If anyone sees Adriana, fucking bury her up to her neck. She's fucking dead.
Tweet.
Joey Coco Diaz. We had these blue stars that were phenomenal. Bro, they were outrageous. We would go down there in the Bronx and we would get these little nickel bags.
He's hilarious, though. He's a funny guy. But to say, if you ever make fun of him again, it's like there's kind of no opportunity for you to do so ever again. He's passed away.
Yeah. Well, I did this right after he died and he was in the news. But this is a thing that goes on with New Yorkers when they go to L.A. L.A. people are fucking boring losers. L.A. is, you see, people don't meet each other. They just drive to the bar. So that's why they dress so bad, too. In New York, it's so packed that you wear one stupid thing and people go, what the fuck? What are those? Dude, what are your shoes? You look like a gay crossing guard. Why do you have fluorescent yellow shoes on? Is that so people can see you tap dance better? And you never wear those again because you learn your lesson. People break your balls on a regular basis. Look at what the fucking cat dragged in. Holy shit, what are you wearing?
Yeah. And then you could just go right back home and change.
Are you trying to get into the Strokes via a time machine? A t-shirt and a blazer? Dude, you look like a magician. But LA people don't get that, right? And they're all pussies and conformists. So right now, the hot look in LA is Ellen. Sacha Baron Cohen, Nate Barsgate, whatever his name is. All the comedians, they wear these tapered little pants from J. Crew, white tennis shoes, like Ellen told them to wear, and then maybe a striped shirt, and then a little J. Crew bomber, little zip-up bomber. They all dress the same. And I remember last year, everyone looked like an agent, a CAA douche. It's too hot there to wear a suit, so they'd wear a navy blue dress shirt with kind of rolled up on the sleeves, and then the same tapered pants, and then just like those fucking annoying dress shoes that are kooky. You know, the ones that have like a red sole, but they're orange or something, or they're soft gray, but the sole is fluorescent yellow. That was the look that year, and they all dress the same. Every meeting, it looks like we're in Soviet Russia for fucking weak hipsters. So anyway, they're boring, and they don't know how to riff, and they're so fucking phony too. The hugging and the telling you look amazing. Then you get back to the mirror and you go, what the fuck? They lied. I look like shit. And the hugging, like when they hug you like you were rumored to be dead for the past 16 years, and you actually just emerged from the mountains with amnesia. And they're like, I'm your actual sister. You don't remember me? Hold. It's just insincere. So anyway, New Yorkers go down there, and all of a sudden there's character and color. Plus, whenever they hear that accent, they think, oh, this is Tony Soprano's boys. These guys used to be enforcers for the mob. These guys are in organized crime. And I think it goes to a lot of New Yorkers' heads down there. They're like, yeah, look, I don't like talking about it, but let's just say I made a lot of mistakes in my life. A lot of heavy fucking mistakes. And then they own a pizza fucking stand, and
he's the real deal. Yeah.
And then you go down there, and the guy's like, oh, you also from New York? Yeah, I grew up in Killer Queens. And you're like, yeah, I get my submarine sandwiches there. And you go, you know that your accent is not interesting to me, right? Like it's every second person I know has that exact accent. It's not scary.
You're not going to out New York me.
Yeah, you don't sound like you come from New York. Yeah, well, your accent, by the way, is on the way out.
Yeah, that's sad, though.
It is.
Joey Ramone, I was surprised, for doing the history of punk. I've had to see a lot of him talking, and man, I forgot his voice sounded that way.
He's like a real New York kind of guy, kind of slows it down a little bit.
Yeah, I like that New York talk.
Well, that was like 70s Queens. You're supposed to be dumb for some reason.
I don't really know what anyone's talking about. I just been like doing my thing, and I wash my socks in the sink after every show.
I keep my head down.
Yeah. I don't want no trouble. I'm just trying to be.
Oh, remember you were talking about like the chicken hawk thing, like when you talk a big game and That's probably like, remember that little Zan clip
Yeah.
where he pulls out the gun?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, sure. Don't bring up video clips on a podcast, please. What was the Father's Day podcast tweet? Whatever you were talking about.
Oh yeah, this is from Copper Cab. He says, "I haven't talked to you or heard from you in years. You may be somewhere on drugs and you have strayed from a good path, but you're still my father, and without you, I wouldn't be here. Hopefully, you find peace someday. Doubt you'll come across this, but if you do, happy Father's Day."
Wait, I thought he said his parents are dead.
No, from your quote, your father left because you're a loser, and your mom died of shame. So. The mother's passed away from what we could assume is shame, and then the father has left. So I thought it was a pretty nice, solid tweet.
Guys, if you're at home and you have a dad that walked out on you, I want you to know what you already know, which is it's your fault. You either weren't cute enough as a baby, or if you were older, you were annoying. But whatever the reason, it's on you. And if your parents are divorced, kids, I want you to know you drove them apart with your constant whining and bullshit. Okay? So it's time to look in the mirror and sort of do an overview, an audit of your shitty attitude, because it's ruining lives.
Oh, I feel bad. I retweeted it because I thought it was really nice. And then, comments like, "Didn't he die from shame?" pop up, and all the comments before that were like, "Dude, love you, man. That's real nice." And I retweeted it, and my fucking asshole fans were like, I did not mean to do that.
Yeah. No, my dad was always...
Oh my God. I'm sorry. He said, actually, he was about to just come back in your life, and then he bought a year subscription to freespeech.tv and saw you get your fat ass handed to you by a 50-year-old dwarf. And then as mentioned, he finally died of shame. Proud of your dad. What an asshole.
I'm not a fucking dwarf. I'm 5'11".
Right, that's why he's an asshole.
You're a dwarf.
Yeah, jerk.
Yeah, I learned at the gym today that one of the guys who was particularly hard on me was doing it on purpose because he read the Proud Boys Wikipedia, and of course it's been compromised. I don't think a lot of people know this, that they don't know what has become a joke. Like the New York Times used to be totally reliable, and it's now the laughingstock. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they took down the KKK. They used to be a very legit organization. Now it's a laughingstock. Anyway, just briefly, this article, Wikipedia has been compromised. It's on officialproudboys.com. Insiders at Wiki tell us a very small contingent of left-wing editors have taken over large parts of the site and are banning hundreds of users, admins, and former WMF staff. What's that? Wikimedia Foundation? For standing in the way of their disinformation campaigns. We are told that after tech author David Auerbach Keller began looking into this, the SJW Wiki crew worked hard to have him fired and were well paid for the efforts. We are told they've already done this to Milo's page as well as Charles C. Johnson's. The source claims there are DNC PR groups within Wiki, and they are working for Wikimedia's Zach Exley and Donna Brazil. The technique appears to be smearing their enemies via edits and then using that as a source in mainstream media when other editors try to argue. Gavin McInnes' page is currently locked to, quote-unquote, prevent vandalism. Yeah, and then the source even provides names. And another, a trick they do is they turn you into a boogeyman, but they use like 187 different sources. So most of them will be SPLC or alt-left sources, like these fucking nutbar social justice warriors. But they're still sources. So now if you want to fix that, you have to refute all 187. And it gets to a number of footnotes where refuting it it's just impossible. Because they go, okay, that one might be wrong, but what about the other 50,000? And then you can see on these Wiki editors' write-ups, you can see them in their list of interests, because they have these sort of logos of things they like to edit. You can see like communist action and LGBTQ activist and Antifa, Nazi basher, whatever. Death to fascism, freedom to the people. So you're not really your classic editor there. You're kind of a political activist lying shithead. Anyway, that ends up having real ramifications in the real world, and I think my nose is broken. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It's got a funny angle to it.
Since when?
I just noticed it the other day.
Huh.
I mean, I've known it's always had an angle, but on the weekend I was looking in the rearview mirror of the car and I was like, wait a minute, this is now at 30 degrees as opposed to 5 degrees off.
And that's a shame because it says objects in mirror are actually less crooked than they appear.
You have more of an Artie Lang nose, so you don't have to worry about it getting ruptured. It looks like a pumpkin in maybe November.
Yeah, it's
It
a
got left out on the front in those lazy houses where they don't take their pumpkins in.
It does look like a pumpkin, and it's gorgeous.
Anyway, I wanted. We were talking the other day about dad fight stories, and I was listing one on Telegram, where I'll just briefly repeat it in case you don't do both. But there's a little town called Lead Hill, Scotland, which is, I think, southwest of Glasgow, about an hour. And my uncle had a home there, my closeted gay uncle. He had a closet there, too. Great little pub called the Hopetoun. And they're there one day, the Hopetoun Inn, and it's gone through a million different owners because they can't make money because there's no coal. It's a coal mining town, and coal mining's over. So people there are just unemployed. So it's impossible. The pub cannot break even. I actually did a video about it that you can find on YouTube where it's like surprising grand for her 90th or something like that. Anyway, they're there. And my dad was probably being cantankerous. You know, he never mentions that part of the story. He's always just this little sweetheart who was just minding us, visiting grandma, it's called. And the owner says, all right, time to pack up, time to go. And my dad looks around the pub and he goes, everyone else, in his really affected fake English Scottish accent, everyone else is already here. They don't seem to be packing up. So I think we'll just stay right here. Actually, he enunciates, that's how he talks to Canadians and Americans. When he gets back home, the accent starts coming back. It's like Jamaicans. It's like, I'm not going to do much, actually, until I see other people moving around. And so the guy goes, they're locals, and they can stay as long as they want. You're no local. And my dad just says, fuck off. and then there was this guy, Gordon Poole, who wasn't Scottish. He was an East Londoner. Well, you don't muck about. And somehow he had convinced these, and it's a coal mining town. It's a relatively tough town, but I guess not that tough. If some scumbag from East London can show up and just be the king of the town. So he's like the enforcer of the town now. And he just nods, Gordon nods to the bartender, and the bartender just starts cleaning the bar like, oh, well, Tony Soprano's going to handle it now. And so my dad goes piss, and Gordon and his two henchmen follow my dad in. My dad finishes his piss. He turns around, and immediately the two henchmen grab an arm each. And then Gordon Poole goes, he made it very clear it was your turn to leave, mate, and why'd you have to make trouble? And then he's just sort of like preparing his fist for a pummeling. And my dad, whose nose looks worse than yours, he looks like KRS-One. His nose has been broken so many times. Whenever I draw him, I just make his nose a triangle. It's been broken 100 times. And he just went whoosh, and headbutted Gordon Poole, exploded the man's face, which, of course, disorients the two arm holders. And then my dad just starts laying into them.
Wow.
And when he was a kid, he was a student, which in Glasgow is the worst thing you could be. It's like being a Klansman in Harlem. I don't understand why. But he was smart and poor, so you'd get a scholarship. So you'd be wearing a private school uniform, like the little blazer with the piping on it, your little shorts with your book and a big belt holding your books together. And he'd be the only person for miles wearing that. So people would gang up on him and go, here you fucking student. You headed to school? Yeah. That's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Hold your waist.
Hold your waist. Hold on, I'm getting a call from RT. So, and then he enjoyed his beer, and that was the end of Gordon Poole left town. Ooh, there's a moral there. That's all a bully needs is one punch in the face. Gordon Poole left town after that because he had been exposed as a not Tony Soprano. It was stolen valor. Where just like the Bronx dudes in L.A., he was living off his accent the exact same way. Because he'd go to this small town in Scotland, and he'd be like, all right, mate, what are you doing? Don't muck about. I'm a fucking psycho. They'd go, ooh, shit, we've seen these East London gangsters on TV. By the way, that's Milo's dad. Milo's dad is basically Gordon Poole, but I hope not that much of a pussy. So it's funny because you have Milo prancing around. Hello, darling. Look, wearing a fake Gucci wallet is so embarrassing that I'm actually embarrassed for you. And then his dad's like, what's a wallet? I just carry around this roll of bills. And if there's a problem, I try and make it go away with paper. And if it doesn't go away, I got to use steel. And that always works. That's his dad. His dad was a successful nightclub owner who was poor and got into organized crime in nightclubs. And then, of course, if you own a nightclub, you can get any pussy you want. So he got some rich Greek chick. No, the dad's Greek. He got some rich, posh chick. So the rich, posh British chick raised Milo like a little rich kid, but his dad was a murderer.
Damn. I think Milo's got it in him. He could probably throw some bows.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Chadwick is a similar story, Chadwick Moore. His dad's a redneck. Chadwick is like a black name in the South. It's not a posh name. And so his dad was like, oh, you're a fag. All right, well, I guess I'll just say to you what I said to your sister. I'm there for you, and if anyone breaks your heart, he's fucking dead.
Nice.
That was the end of that. That was Chadwick's coming out party. Another time, I've told this story 100 times, but another great fight that my dad still has on his record. We used to go pool jumping as kids. It was so boring in the suburbs that we would do things like you have to do 13 acts of vandalism before you can go to the party. So you're throwing lawn chairs in pools, or you're stomping on someone's flower bed or stupid shit like that you deserve to get pounded for, by the way. That's the thing about when you did that. It was like Russian roulette. Like when you threw snowballs at cars, you're risking the guy coming out and kicking the shit out of you. Not like hospitalizing you. You're just a little kid, but we knew these other kids that would go the next level. We would do stuff like we take the tape from a cassette tape and we'd stretch it across the street. And so a car would come and hit it. And those cassette tapes, the tape in them goes on for miles and miles and miles. So it would just go like, meh, and go on and on and on. And then, of course, snowballs, sometimes an ice ball, but not really, nothing that would do damage. Then there were the big kids in the neighborhood. You know what they would fucking do? A bowling ball.
Oh, come on.
You put a bowling ball in the middle of the road and the driver doesn't notice it, your car's done.
Jesus.
Like, it just rips it just destroys the whole bottom carriage of the car.
Oh, my God.
Those guys played hardball. But anyway, these pussies who don't accept that you need a beating when you get caught were jumping through. We had a pool. And so they were coming from one end, and there was a slide on the pool, so it had a ladder. So it was a pretty good pool to pool jump in, because you jump in the deep end, then you come out and you get on the ladder for the slide, go up the ladder and jump off. You're in my neighbor's yard now. Boom, and you're off ski. Hope ideally there's no dogs anywhere, and you're off to the races. So my dad hears the first two sploosh, and he goes, "What the fuck is this?" Now his bedroom, the master bedroom, went right out to the pool, but you couldn't get there unless you jumped out the window, which he did, totally nude. Because British people, especially Scottish people, sleep in the nude. They like to air out their junk. Maybe it's a Scottish thing, I don't know. My dad's never, for him, nudity is like the only reason he wears clothes is because you'll go to jail if you don't. But sometimes at my house, they'll be nude. And I'm just like, Dad, you look like a fucking scrotum with a skeleton in it. Like his skin is just hanging off, and he's got all these old liver spots and age spots. One time he was with a bunch of buddies hunting at a hunting camp, and he got up in the middle of the night to go piss, and of course he's nude. Imagine a scrotum if you had to stretch it out over a person. And he's just like crawling like Gollum. He looks like Gollum. He's crawling like Gollum, my precious, to the bathroom, and someone goes... Someone sees him and they go, "Hey, look, it's a wine bag without any wine in it." And then they go, "And it's still got the tap on the front."
That's good.
Canadians are funny. So he jumps out the window and at this runs to where they had jumped in the pool. He gets the first two guys make it over the ladder. The second guy's on his way up the ladder. My dad grabs him. I don't know what they were wearing. I assume like sneakers and shorts and nothing else, right? Because you're going to be soaked. Yanks him down. The kid hits his ass on the tile, and then the paving stones. And then my dad gets over him and just starts lacing into him. Wow. Holding him by the neck and just punching him in the face as he's on the ground. The kind where I wouldn't be surprised if he was out after the first two. And there was like, I hate seeing unconscious people get punched. Yeah. It makes me sweat. It just seemed, well, it looks like murder, which it may be.
And the kicking when they're down,
it makes you want to puke.
Makes me feel empty.
The way the head just sort of flops back like a rag doll.
Yeah, World Star.
World Star. It may have been one of those. And also, imagine you look down and there's that pendulous elephant trunk of a cock. Because dads have different dicks than us. I'm sure mine will get there one day, but something about fucking for 50 years. Oh, wait a minute. I'm 50. I must have a dad's dick. Huh. It just becomes like a Coke can. It's just like, it looks like an elephant was circumcised and then they just gave you the foreskin. It's just like, there's no form to it anymore. It's just a tube. It's like a toilet paper roll. Just plop. You're like, where's the head, dude? So as you're getting pounded, you're looking down and you're seeing that swinging around, dancing around, doing a little jig.
Hypnotizing you.
Trying to help you. Run. Yeah. You're going to die. This is very bad for you. He's angry.
It's like a snake's rattle.
Don't think playing dead's going to help. He'll punch you when you're out.
Ew, imagine if it did rattle.
Some guy the other day at one of the baseball games, he was like, can you imagine if it was a dick instead of tits for breastfeeding? Like, that's how the kid got milk?
Wow.
And I go, yeah, that would suck. Well, it wouldn't suck. We just get bottles. Sorry.
Yeah.
No BJs tonight, kiddos. And then he says to me, he goes, that's proof God exists.
Because women's tits do mean
because he gave it to the tits instead of the dick. Thank you, God.
Yeah, because they don't fuck them, right?
Yeah. And plus, it's not like they're gonna jizz.
Right.
Like,
your tits are fair.
It's not like they're gonna go, oh yeah, that's it, baby. Suck those tits.
Yeah, that's the best of all evils. The tits.
I've never sucked tits, really.
Huh.
I'm not a tit guy. I mean, what do? You lick them? Okay.
You could.
You want your tits licked? I've never heard a woman go, please, like, why don't you lick my tits anymore?
You're right.
I haven't had my tits licked in a week. I'm in a real bad mood. Need a good tit licking. It's a good name for a band, Tit Lickers.
Tit licking. Yeah.
It'd be funny if your band was called Tit Lickers, but you were like a really serious classical music band. or like traditional country. You know what? The instrumental stuff with the band violins and the banjos, the fiddles.
Yeah.
Welcome to Tit Lickers.
Jazz bands are like that, but it's like they're trying to be, because they have no lyrics in it, so it's like we have a sex name, but it's just like standard jazz, and you're like, you guys aren't cool.
Wouldn't it be cool if Trump was so awesome that he just said, yeah, we're banning jazz. No one really likes it. It's just a thing people say they like. To sound cultured. It sucks.
Yeah.
Starting today, no more jazz. And then journalists would go, what do you mean? Are you going to shut down jazz clubs? I don't know. It's up in the air. I just don't like it.
President Bill Burr?
I don't know. I don't know, dude.
I don't know. It's just like it just keeps going. Like the drum. What's the drummer doing?
How are you good or bad?
Like, why are you hitting the ride that much?
Who's bad at jazz?
Dude, I could just pick up a guitar right now and just nail it.
Anyway, he beat up the little boy who was 14. The kid was 14. And then the kid's father pressed charges, and my dad got charged with assault.
Wow.
It's not a very Texas-y place, Canada. And there's no stand your ground thing, castle law. And then when he got arrested for drunk driving, which happened many, many times, I don't think he can drive anymore. I think he takes an Uber. Wow. My mom called me. She was fucking pissed. She goes, he's got me. He thinks, because he's totaled the last 3 cars. Totaled them. Including the one you bought.
Jeez.
And then she says to me, so he thinks I'm going to be a bloody chauffeur. He can take the bus. He can take the Uber. He can figure it out. And then she goes, the other day he took my car. It's my car without permission. And you know what was in the bloody cup holder? A beer. Like I'm going to go, oh my God. Now I'm pissed, Mom. What a dick. I hate him too. I think they're talking about divorce. They're in their mid-70s. Wouldn't that be a funny divorce?
It sounds like a Goldie Hawn movie. Like the and Burt Reynolds.
Well, the good news is my brother and I could not give less of a shit. There will be no tears during that procedure. I actually did a talk at their 50th anniversary, and I said, I think my dad is the real hero of this relationship because clearly he's married someone who is deaf and blind. And deaf and blind women tend not to find suitors. But she clearly can't see anything. And if you've ever spoken to him, you know she can't hear anything. I mean, could you handle him for 50 years?
That's a great joke.
Yeah, well, they didn't like it. I don't know.
What?
That's
Perfectly soft, and it favors the woman. And
yeah, they've had some cool friends up and down, but then they've also had some times when you're like, your friends all suck. And it was during a particularly shitty friend time where they were humorless bores.
Well, how about it's like, we're their kids, so who the fuck are you people?
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
We're their sons.
This is my house.
Yeah.
This is my house. Are you playing a fucking video game like a retard?
It helps me focus. I'm tactile.
No, that's not.
Well, I can doodle.
Like a doodle. Why don't you have the mailbag shit ready, you fucking dork?
I suppose I could. Are we hitting the mailbag?
What game are you playing?
Angry Birds 2. The sequel to the first.
Yeah, thanks.
It's good.
Anyway, I got 100 other fight stories with my dad, and I think of them on Father's Day. And it was, just before we get to that, it was a better time. You know, I got in a fight about a year ago, not quite, where this guy wouldn't pick up his dog shit, and then his dog started attacking me because I was yelling at him because he just refused, and then he shoved me, so I punched him in the face.
Nice.
And that was he left, so he didn't press charges or anything, and took his dog with him because I was going to fucking kick his dog to smithereens. I'm not getting bitten by your dog after I told you to pick up dog shit. But my dad had the exact same story, and he told the guy to pick up his dog shit. We're back now to like 1979. And the guy said, fuck you. He said, just pick up your shit now. And he goes, make me. So my dad shoved him, or I don't know how the fight started actually, but they had a fight. Both of them, God knows what the dog was doing at the time, for like 20 minutes. And the next day, like my dad couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. He he woke up and he had a pumpkin head, all his ribs shattered, just black eyes, big, huge lips, couldn't move. And we assumed, we hope the other guy was in the same position. But isn't that perfect? Like, we're calling the cops over tweets and implied threats, and you touch me, that's assault. This is not what cops went to police college for. This is not in the academy. The idea that someone could just have a good old-fashioned fisticuff, knife-free, where, yeah, it hurts to get out of bed for a couple of days, is just the way society should be.
It's a learning experience, too.
Yes. The next time someone tells that guy to pick up shit, he's going to go, this could be 3 days of having trouble getting out of bed, and I could just pick up the shit.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I should probably pick up anyway. It's shit. What if a kid steps in it, gets it on his shoes, and then gets it in his eye and gets an infection?
A blind person.
Blind. My mom, my blind, deaf mom, just squelching through. I remember one time we were at a bar. I've been going to a bar literally since I was born. I was in a baby thing days after I was born at the pub, not the Hopeton, but some little English pub. Anyway, I'm a little kid now. I'm like 11. Just back this 1981, you could have a kid at the bar. And I just have a milk. And my dad would be talking to other people. And then, almost like homosexuals, he sees someone over at the other bar, and they are locked. They've locked eyes. And there was no verbiage to set them off. They were too far away from each other. And my dad is doing that sort of thing you do with your chin, where you kick it up a bit. Like, yeah, you got a fucking problem? You got a problem? You know, you make your eyes bigger, maybe shrug your shoulders. You got a problem? You want it? And the other guy's going, yeah. Huh. So I think my dad, 81, so I would have been 11. So he'd be like 40. And, right? No, maybe like late 30s. But the guy was like 21. And they agree to go outside, just like homos. Like, I'm not saying they're gay, but I'm saying the back and forth was the same as two gays. Like, do you want to go suck it? Maybe you're in the alleyway. But this was violence. So they agree just with eye gestures and eyebrows bouncing up and down. They go outside. This is in Ottawa, Canada, on Bank Street at the Royal Oak. And it's just black ice on the first. The danger where you grew up was black guys. The danger where I grew up was black ice. And he walks out, and the young man, as my dad is walking to like an area where they can fight, the young man, like 6 inches out of the door, just goes, "Hey!" And my dad turns around, and the guy just goes, "Oh," and smashes my dad in the face, shatters his nose. My dad goes flying, falls, hits his head on the black ice, and the other guy just leaves.
Wow.
My dad was in the hospital for that one. That was a doozy. All right, let's do the mailbag.
Ryan, shut up, you don't have a dad. Let's turn our eyes to Gavin's mailbag. Let me touch it.
By the way, I hope you're enjoying freespeech.tv. Don't forget to check out Off the Record, the music show on freespeech.tv. It's under shows. We just did a new episode that's already up where I'm dressed like Andrew Wilkow. And we're talking about the way you can't make jokes about, say, Carlos Maza, who's a Hispanic homosexual. That means that Steven Crowder has to be shut down. Yet we're watching this Jeffrey Ross thing, and a guy, or it was actually Urkel, pretending to be Mandela, says, yeah, you know what they say, you can't make an omelet without killing a few white farmers. And it was Nelson Mandela justifying his past terrorism. Somehow that's linked to white farmers, which are a little after Mandela's time. And everyone in the audience is laughing their heads off. So the white farmers being killed in South Africa now are not just being killed. The children are being boiled alive. The mothers are being forced to watch as they rape the daughters, and then they kill the whole family and leave the father alive, so he'll later kill himself. Like, the level of sadism is beyond horror movie levels, really. And then Urkel jokes about it, and they cut to the audience just going, oh, yeah, I love that shit. So we just talked.
One groan.
And then they do something about Rosa Parks, and someone says, yeah, Americans are so lazy. Same guy, Nelson Mandela. Americans are so lazy, you get a statue for sitting down. And then they cut to the audience, and they're going, oh, no, thank you.
That was a bit rough.
I do not like making fun of Rosa Parks, which he wasn't even doing. But I don't mind joking about mass genocide, ethnocide. I mean, I think even left-wing groups are calling it ethnic cleansing.
Sheesh. It's like a more morally corrupt audience than like the people that were watching the Running Man games.
What's the Running Man games?
It's basically like a death match, and they're like, yeah.
Oh, like Hunger Games?
That too. But, yeah.
And then we also talked about Barbie Benton's tits, which have very puffy nipples. So as you'll see, there's a huge variety with the show. All right, let's get heavily immersed into the letters. Dear Gav, I was recently walking by a local pond with my wife, and we stopped to observe turtles swimming in the water. Suddenly, another man walks up with a bag of mini marshmallows and starts throwing handfuls of pink and yellow mini marshmallows into the water. The turtles completely ignored the marshmallows, and the treats just floated there in the water, bobbing stupidly. The man also attempted to hand feed one of the turtles, but this also was ignored. Finally, discouraged, he says to his mortified-looking girlfriend, gee, I guess they're just not hungry. Question, is it possible to save face in this situation? That's from a guy named Harold. No, kill yourself. If you were that person, the best thing to do is to just sort of go close to the edge of the pond there and just dip your head and then just push off with your legs and never come up. Just drown yourself right there in front of everyone. At least that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
What a dumbass. And try it out first. Try a piece of marshmallow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I got one. This is short.
Okay.
From Jake. Ryan Katsu, I love you. I'm a 20-year-old Orthodox Jew, and sex is a no-no until marriage, as well as masturbating, and even kissing and touching is considered bad. After marriage, they say that Jewish sex is amazing. Anyway, curious about how no wanks combined with no sex works. What shall I do with my boys? Love the show.
I'm not getting involved in that.
Because it's religious.
Yeah, it's Orthodox Judaism. What am I going to do? Tell you to not do your religion?
Yeah, you should.
I actually had I had this come up when I was in Israel. Because there was a Proud Boys Israel starting up there, and this guy was like, when my wife is having a period, I can't go near her. So what's a man to do? I'm like, isn't a period like 5 days? You can't wait 5 days? I'm not touching that with a fucking 10-foot pole.
Yeah, you're right. Just stick with whatever you're supposed to do, and nothing good comes from no work. So it'll be worth it. The Jewish sex, oof.
Well, if you're taking advice from Ryan Rivera, you have some serious problems. Hi, Gavin and Ryan. I subscribed to freespeech.tv this past week. Can't say enough good things about it. You brought up on one of the GOMLs that you thought most people who listen were moderates. I can say that in my anecdotal case, that's true. I align as a moderate, centrist libertarian. Yeah, so does everyone. All this far-right shit. We all basically have the same politics. And when we don't, it's because one of us is wrong. Like Sarah Silverman, I was talking to her, and she's like, there's a war against women going on in this country, and they're slowly stripping women's rights away. And I go, you're talking about abortion. Half the women in this country are pro-life. What about their rights? They believe that a certain age, any age of a baby is a life, and they don't want that killed. So it's not like some sexist thing. In other words, she didn't have all the information. But the rest of us who have all the facts, we're basically on the same page. It's like we don't like the government meddling. We're happy to pay for something if it's going to work. But if it's not going to work, you're not getting all my money to go fuck up some stupid project, some giant $500 million to Solyndra Solar Company that Obama flushed down the toilet. No thanks, I'm not doing that. But, if there's some sort of like catastrophe, I'm willing to donate. Oh yeah, what about Puerto Rico? Trump said he's donating like 90 million. He only donated about 7. No, he committed whatever figure he said over the long term. It's not what he's already given, dumbass. And by the way, why are some places so terrible at fixing shit? Like you look at Haiti after the earthquake, a year after, 2 years after, it would still look like a huge pile of garbage. Katrina also sucked forever. I was at Breezy Point this weekend. It's cop heaven, by the way. You go from the suburbs of New York, where it's, hey, there's no home here, hey, there's no home here, hey, there's no home here. And then you go to Breezy Point, not one HNHH sign, and I would say 5% of the houses don't have an American flag. And that that's made up for by the road, the main road, that has an American flag on every single fucking pole. It looks like Flag Day. The place looks like a flag store, and it's all cops. They know who I am. Hey, how you doing? I know you. You like how Fox News or something? What's your name again? God, it was heaven. I think I might move there. According to my political compass test that you can do online. Oh, that's him describing his where he is on the political spectrum. This is a thing millennials do where they make an interesting point and then they get really into themselves. We'll see if this goes there. Corresponding image below, if you give a shit. Now he's showing me a chart of where he lies in the political spectrum. Thank you. Thanks, right? I'll put that in my little happy box. I have a little cigar box of all my favorite things, and one of them will be your chart of where you are on the political spectrum. Anywho, my question is about free speech on the site. I really enjoyed the conversation with Milo, Cornell West, and Roger Stone and Mark Lamont Hill. The biggest takeaway that really gave me hope was how much everyone agreed with each other. Of course, there are minor differences, but much more common ground than not. Yeah, exactly. That's the point of my whole show. My question is, how much editing takes place of that show? Bad grammar. Is it just one take, no stopping, hour-long conversation, or are there periods of downtime? Are things being edited out entirely? Really enjoying the content, blah, blah, blah. The Roger Stone, Mark Lamont Hill thing was edited. Copper Cab was at the beginning, and it was just over the top, and he flipped over a coffee table and tried to fight me, and it made the whole discussion look comical and too esoteric. And I got to be real careful with these liberals and not fuck them over, or I'm never going to get any more. So I wanted to make sure Mark Lamont Hill didn't feel like he was tricked into being on some stupid clown show. So I pulled the copper cab stuff. Mark and I got into it about Muslims that just derailed the whole conversation. So I cut some of that down. Nothing based on controversy or anything. You know what's funny, though? Because since the people have been getting fucked over in interviews and stuff, it's developed this paranoia. And it's usually the left doing it, but even the left is scared. So Mark Lamont Hill was really worried about, get this, in the Roger Stone thing, someone had come up to Roger Stone the night before and called him a Nazi at a restaurant and tried to fucking strangle him. This is a guy, by the way, who came up to Roger at the beginning of the night and said, well, you're in the news. Okay, making waves, I see. Well, best of luck. And then he sat down and he's probably stewing at his table. And the people there were probably going, you pussy, why didn't you do anything? Why'd you just go kiss Roger Stone's ass? So then he came, and he had some liquid courage. And then he came back ready to brawl. So, and all of a sudden it's the Nazi thing. And when I told that story to Mark and Roger at the time, I wasn't telling Roger, he told me, I said, and then, one minor detail, he was eating a cake that was shaped like a swastika and he was dressed like Hitler. Obviously a joke. And Mark Lamont Hill said, I don't find that funny. He got in trouble because he did some speech, Mark did, where he talked about Palestine and their rights and how they deserve to have rights from the river to the sea. And I don't think he knows this or knew this at the time, but when Palestinians say from the river to the sea, they're usually talking about washing away Israel completely, annihilating it, and having no Jews at all from the river to the sea. Total annihilation. So I think it was just a lack of sophistication when it comes to their strange little hidden entendres. Pretty innocent, but it made him paranoid because it really fucked his career. I think he got fired from CNN. So his concern was that I would get a clip of him laughing and put it after the swastika thing.
Oh, I see.
Because what he really said after the swastika thing was, I don't find that funny at all. I was like, okay. It's obviously a joke, dude. Chill out. But yeah, he was worried that I would make him laughing at swastikas. Isn't that weird? And yeah. I said to the people that hire him, I'm like, I cannot tell you how far that would be from anything I would ever do. I would rather fucking die. I'd rather quit the whole thing and become a carpenter than fuck people over like that. Never, ever, ever. Unless you fuck with me. But that's different. No, I would never do that. That's Jim Jeffries. That's what Jim Jeffries did to Ava Yamini. He totally re-edited the thing. That's what they did to me at The Daily Show. Remember that woman in soccer thing?
Yeah.
They totally changed up responses. They added this overlay and pretended that they were asking at the time. Totally corrupt. And it's what the left does because they're pussies and they can't fight man to man. So they cheat and they try to deplatform you. They get you debanked. And it's a way to take out the competition without having to do things like have actual ideas. I'm not including Mark Lamont Hill in that. It's funny that he's a victim of leftist behavior in a sense. Anyway, really enjoying the content. You're doing a great service. Again, the discourse of the country back on track. All right. It's time to speak to one of the funnest things you can do when you're watching sports or even TV is get involved with Bet DSI. It is where I go to bet, and it's where you should go to bet. You can use your sports knowledge to make some extra cash. Bet DSI offers betting options for everything. Bet on fighting, NBA, March Madness, NFL, NHL, NCAA, football, and all other major sports, politics, reality TV, esports, virtually everything. Bet DSI has a very friendly interface and mobile site. In fact, I think it would be easier to list what you can't bet on. It's sort of like the Guinness Book of World Records. Like, when does it end? Most corn to fit in a house. I talked about this in the movie A Million in the Morning. What is a world record? I actually tried to do one with this show where we said, what's the longest consecutive vidcast? Now, there was some, like German TV did some for like 4 days, but they had different hosts. So that doesn't count. That just means you left the camera on. But what's the vidcast record for one guy sitting in a chair and just talking? And I did it for like 40 hours or something. Thanks to Adderall. But I looked up the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's like $700 you have to pay for them to even consider it. And then it takes weeks for one of their certified judges to come by, and then he has to be there the whole time. I'm not sure how that would work. You probably have to pay him for his time.
That was the first day I met you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the first day I went in there. Ben Ratner's last day at Compound.
Huh.
Pretty historic stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When was that?
2014 or 15? Shit, I don't know.
I'm sure you could get to a point with BetDSI where you could say, hey, this thing's going on. Can you create a bet of it, please? Like when Gavin's going to give up? Oh, but no, they couldn't do that because then we would just cheat. And I tell you that I'm going to pass out at 36 hours.
Yeah. Or you could bet on it or have somebody bet on it.
Yeah, it's got to be more certified sports.
Sure.
But, things like reality TV is pretty uncertified. But you're probably better off using your sports knowledge to make some extra cash. At BetDSI, which is betdsi.com/Gavin. They offer online wagering, and they've been paying winners for 20 years. So use this link, betdsi.com/Gavin, to deposit with credit card or Bitcoin and get 100% bonus. New members get a 100% bonus match using promo code Gavin. That's more than double your money to start winning today. Also, by using Gavin, you will automatically be granted a free $25 wager. That's cool. So yeah, go to freespeech.tv. We'll start having guests throughout the week. I don't like to have guests on Monday because there's too much news piled up. I'd like to talk to this Pinterest guy who ratted them out for listing pro-life sites as porn sites. It's hard to talk about that on YouTube. Man, I am getting shut down on YouTube any second now. And yes, Proud Boys, the men's club I started, are grossly misunderstood. They are a multicultural drinking club. Yes, there has been violence because they get attacked simply for liking Trump, because people lie about Trump. And they say if you support him, you're a white supremacist. White supremacists are alarmingly rare. There are not gangs of racists roaming the streets. There are not hate gangs. I'm not a hate figure. They're not a hate group. But the FBI has forbade me from seeing them, so you got your way. And I got fired. But I think it's important to get fired. Get in trouble. Be brave. And never stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop fighting.